Anna Kendrick, take a bow, you absolute star. Like, if you like true crime, this movie should be next on your watch list because it's a banger. Did you know that in 1978, a serial killer appeared on the hit reality TV show The Dating Game? Like, unbeknownst to the audience, one of the most prolific serial killers and sexual offenders in US history appeared on the dating game as a contestant and won midway through his crime spree. That's how fucking deranged this guy was. He was like, "Yeah, this is not enough attention. I'm killing all these people in my past. I'm gonna put myself on national TV in America." Like, this movie is about that incident. Like, you can go look at the YouTube video of that, and it is like, you can see it. I watched it before this just to like check it out, and I was like, holy shit. Um, and it's fascinating. Like, this movie is fascinating because of that. And not only is it fascinating, it does my favorite thing when it comes to true crime, and that is make the serial killer look like the fucking loser they are. Longlegs did it. House That Jack Built did it, and now this has come along in the same vein. And I really love when they do that. I'm sick of, like, where there's so many serial killing, like, movies about serial killers where they make the serial killer really like way hotter. They're like, hey, who should we get to? Hey, this guy's the most despicable man on the planet. Who should we get to play him? Brad Pitt. You know, like, don't do that. Why are you doing that? Just make them despicable. We should hate these people. I listened to a few interviews with the writer of this movie, Ian McDOnald, and the craziest thing about this story is that when this guy was eventually outed as a serial killer, pretty much everyone around him, everyone he worked with, all his like friends and acquaintances were like, yeah, that tracks. Like, it wasn't like Ted Bundy where people were like, oh, but he's such a sweet boy and he's so charming. No, no, no. Everyone was like, yeah, man, he's loopy. He's crazy. Apparently multiple people had reported him to the cops before this, and for his strange behaviour, which included, and is shown in this, he would pretend to be a photographer, and he would take really vulnerable, disgusting photos of like underage boys and girls, and he would just bring them in and show them to his work colleagues and be like, "Look what I took. This is pretty awesome. Don't worry, the parents said I could do it," and multiple people reported him, and nothing was done. Like, this film will not endear you to police work of the 1970s, but it is a powerful fucking film, and it's a movie that really accurately portrays how stressful and dangerous interacting with an unknown or sometimes known guy can be for women. And it explores that theme so damn well that this movie made me think of all the interactions I have had with female acquaintances, strangers, or even colleagues in the past, and analyze them and really think about how I came across in those scenarios, right? Like, were there times in the past where I insisted on walking someone to their car after a work shift or a date, just because I was, or help them with or help some stranger that I didn't know, helped her with their groceries, and my dumb ass is walking along being like, I'm a good guy, I'm helping people, and this poor soul next to me is sitting there going like, please don't be a fucking murderer, please don't be a fucking murderer, please, like that has probably happened, right? Of course, I know my intentions. I know I'm not a murderer. I know I'm not here to hurt anyone. But I might have inadvertently created the scariest 5 minutes of that person's week just because I don't understand, or I didn't understand in that situation. I wasn't mindful of how I came across, and I wasn't like, I didn't realize how vulnerable women are in those situations, you know? I might have been completely oblivious about it. Like, I hope I haven't done that. And I was thinking about it after this movie. I was like, have I come across okay? I hope I've come across it, you know. But this movie's definitely made me more mindful of those interactions going forward, and the trust that women have to put in people just in their everyday lives to be safe, or the placation that they have to undertake. And for that alone, this movie is one of the best fucking things I've seen this year. Woman of the Hour follows struggling actress Cheryl, played by Anna Kendrick, who, after striking out on an audition, she basically decides, fuck it, I'm going to bite the bullet, I'm going to go on a reality TV show, I'm going to go on the dating game. Unfortunately for Cheryl, one of the contestants, a man named Rodney, happens to be one of the most prolific serial killers of all time. And this movie analyzes the facades that evil men often employ, the problem with lazy cop work, and most of all, the everyday dangers of being a woman. Now, this movie is fucking great. It is so dark, it is so disturbing. There are so many scenes that spiked my heart rate just due to the constant created tension, and almost all of them are just conversations. I can't tell you how many times I thought, please get out of this. Please get out of this, right? In this movie. I was rooting for every character not named fucking Rodney. Anna Kendrick is fantastic as Cheryl. She directed this. I think this is her debut. And she's extremely good at playing a character who, due to the setting, is constantly pushed into placating the awful men that surround her, right? Whether it's some guy just who lives next door, or an agent, or a casting director, or a fucking TV host, right? It's heartbreaking. She has to be like, okay, yeah, I'll just play my part, ha. But when she finally gets her own back, it's so fucking satisfying, and she is so funny in not a funny film. This film is really dark and really disturbing, but she is hilarious in it at points. Some of the best acting I've seen all year was in this movie by Daniel Zovatto, who he's been in actually some of my favorite horrors. It Follows, Don't Breathe, and The Pope's Exorcist. But this is a star-making role for him. He plays Rodney with like this cocky, gross persistence that made my fucking skin crawl. And there are multiple scenes where, like, he's having conversations with someone and his mask slips for like a second. Like, the face changes, the tone changes, and it's just a second. And those moments are absolutely terrifying. There is also some pretty full-on death scenes, as we get to see the plight of some of Rodney's previous victims, and every scene is so dread-inducing. You can tell what's going to happen. There's like a long lead up, and it almost made me feel sick, right? I was just like, oh God, oh lady, please get him out, you know, like, it's really, you see the train coming. Also, pleasant shout out, two of my favorite comedic actors are in this. Pete Holmes, who does the funny Batman, he's a great stand-up comic, and Tony Hale, who was in Arrested Development. It's always good to see those guys, even though in this they're playing absolute assholes, but good to see those two. The only real issue I can see people having with this movie is that there are points where it doesn't really know who to follow, and one storyline kind of just ends. Like, there's a lot of build-up and then it just ends. But, like, that is based on real events, apparently. Like, I went back and had a little bit of a look. That's what happened in real life, so I'm fine with it, because that's how it went down. If you are really... This is for entertainment, right? This is not a documentary. If you're really into the case of the real-life case of this bastard, you're probably going to have some bones to pick, because you might know every detail and they might have got some stuff wrong. But I watched this for entertainment, and it is a really good movie. If you like true crime and movies that are like intense and deliberately slow paced to build dread, this movie should absolutely be on your watch list. It's on Netflix. I can't wait to see what Anna Kendrick does next, because I hope she keeps directing horror, because she fucking nailed this. What a phenom. What a phenom Anna Kendrick is. I recommend watching this if you like true crime films. Easy sell. If you don't mind a slow burn that's filled with tension and dread, like it's not just a slow burn when nothing happens. You are like tense and it is unpleasant most of the way. This is for you. If you love Anna Kendrick when she's like at her wittiest, there's some really good scenes in there. Fucking Cheryl just feeds them for a bit. It's great. I do not recommend watching this if you have an aversion to like realistic depictions of violence against women or sexual violence. That is what this fucking scumbag did in real life. He's a real prick of a man. But it's in here. If you're a woman on dating apps, You brave, brave soul. You have my condolences because after watching this movie, dating apps just seems like a fucking shark cage to me. So that might have the same effect for you. I mean, stay safe out there if you can. Please stay safe. I hope you don't meet anyone that's like this. As a man, if you don't want to do an audit of every interaction you've ever had with a woman, stay away from this fucking film because this movie is so good that I was like, okay, got to make sure like, that's what this film does. If you are self-reflective, and you should be, this film will do that. If you like this movie and movies that explore the everyday dangers of being a woman and that shine a light on the absolute fucking scumbag men out there, I highly recommend Revenge by Coralie Farge. It's about a woman named Jen who is like the mistress of this wealthy businessman. She goes on a trip to a remote desert mansion where all of a sudden his friends show up and things get dangerous. They do something awful to her and decide to kill her, and she says, "Nice try, fuckheads," and it's wonderful. It's wonderful, it is tense, it is brutal. It's made by the same person who made The Substance. I fucking love Revenge. Highly recommend. If you like the look and feel of this movie, especially like the dating game parts, like the TV show parts of this, highly recommend Late Night with the Devil. It's recently been added to Netflix. It is a very similar in tone and color palette to like the TV show portions of this movie. Even though it's like a more fun supernatural horror, it's far more lighthearted than this is. It's set in the 70s and it follows late night TV show host Jack Del Roy. He hosts this TV show called Night Owls, and he's been struggling for ratings. So to combat this, he decides to do like a Halloween variety show, and one of the guests he brings on is someone who is possessed by a demon. It goes fucking poorly, and we get to watch, and it's really good. I love this movie, and David Dastmalchian as a horror host, he's killer, absolutely killer in this role. As always, thanks for watching. If you've seen this movie, let me know what you think. As we are getting to the end of the year, I'm trying to see all the big hitters so that I can get like an accurate view of the field and what horror's been up to in 2024. Because I'm going to do my top 10 list. At the end of the year, I always do a top 10 list. So if you think, like, I've got Abigail to cover, I Saw the TV Glow, I got Cuckoo. But if there's anything you think, hey Jake, you need to see this movie and you have not covered it, and it came out, it had a wide release in 2024, fucking sling it my way. I'm always up for a recommend. But yeah, cheers for watching. Peace.